Welcome back, my dear students. I have decided to make our admin, and I want you to make that change as well, just the index instead of the dashboard, because we had a dashboard and then we had the index route for uh, just demonstration purposes only, right? So remember that we had a views inside admin, we had another view called dashboard. Delete that, go to the index route right here and delete that route for the admin that we had right here. Okay, and just leave this link alone here like this. I mean this code, and go to your admin side nav or side navigation, and make it so it goes to /admin instead of /admin dashboard. Okay, so that's all the change I made because I wanted to just have the dashboard. Oops, did I make that change? Well, let's go back and make sure that our application is running. It's not running. Let's make sure it's running. Sometimes you get that error there. You just got to make sure your thing is running. Okay, we don't have that route anymore. I don't. Okay, now my dashboard goes to admin by itself. Okay, we're serving just that index. Okay, so we are about to start creating posts. Okay, and we want to do basically the CRUD: create, read, update, and delete with MongoDB. Now we could, if we wanted to, use MySQL or any other database out there. But when you are creating applications using Node.js, and frameworks like Angular and so on, you want to deal with MongoDB. MongoDB is just faster. It's just something that it goes well together um, with Node, okay, with JavaScript, right? So let's start doing that. What I want to do is I want to start creating the views for create, update, delete, all that stuff. And then we're going to start working with a database. But before we get to all that stuff, why don't we connect to a database? And you guys learn how to do that in a couple of lectures before, right? In the beginning of the course where I show you about the database, right? Go to that database section if you don't remember. Make sure you should have an instance of MongoDB installed in your computer. Okay, so if we go to another tab here in the terminal, if you're using Git or command prompt, whatever, if you type in MongoD, you should be able to get your database working. Okay, just like, well, mine was already on, but if I type Mongo, I should be in the Mongo shell, and I say show DBS, and I should see all my databases there. Okay, databases that I got. So Control C, I'm gonna get out of there. And remember, you can do this in your terminal. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a database for this project. I'm gonna do, let's go here somewhere, and where can we put this database? I like to have my database on top, to be honest with you, like right here on top somewhere. And I'm going to be using Mongoose for this. Okay, remember that Mongoose is this ODM, okay, object document mapper, okay, because we want to be able to have methods that are going to allow us to save data to the database and delete it, do the crop basically, and just this ODM or Mongoose makes it very, very easy for us to do that. So it just helps us manage our data in object, basically with objects format. So we don't have Mongoose. If we go to package.json, we need to install that. So let's go ahead and do that. npm install Mongoose. Okay. M-O-N. This is how you spell it right here. Okay. Now let's go to app.js and let's create some type of connection here. So we're going to let's first include Mongoose here. Mongoose required. There we go. Simple as that. That's it. Okay, now we have a Mongoose there. Require. Now let's start creating stuff with it. So we want to connect. Okay, and remember that the protocol for the MongoDB is not the same as the other databases. We have a different protocol. It's called MongoDB. Okay, instead of HTTP, it's MongoDB : / localhost. Okay, now you can also type in 127.0.0.1. Some people have issues with localhost, so you might want to put just the IP of that local server. Okay, and now we could say, well, the default port. Okay, sometimes this will work like this, and you can just put the database. And as a matter of fact, mine probably will work like this, but I'm just gonna type it like this just to make it more, just to make it better. So this is the default port for MongoDB, and now we want to connect to a database called CMS. Well, remember that we don't have a database. We are assuming that we will have a database called CMS, and the moment that we create some type of data, Mongoose will help us create that database called CMS. Once we insert data, it will help us create a CMS database. Okay, and one thing that we need to do here, we need to pass another parameter with a key and value called use Mongo client. Make it true. Okay, if you don't do that, it's going to give us some type of error. Okay, now I'm going to follow this by a then. We're going to use promises. Okay, if you don't know about promises, I have a course, a free course called ES6, where I show you about promises. Okay, so this is basically, instead of using like a callback function saying, hey, listen, we got the data and we got an error back, instead of using like some function here, let's say not here, but let's say here or something, like using a callback function like this, and we say error and data or something like that. Instead of using that, we use promises. It's a lot easier to handle and better to read, and it's just better. So we're gonna say then, and of course we have the DB here, and we get something back. So when we say then this does not get executed until we use then. Then it's like execute. That's what that means. Execute something, and we're gonna get something back only if we are able to connect. If we're not able to connect, then we need to catch that error somewhere. Okay, so Mongo connected. Now we can attach a catch here, and we can say error, and then we can just say console.log error. Okay, now you might see me doing stuff like this. Sometimes we don't need to actually, if we don't have any other parameters, we don't need to, we can just do stuff like that. Okay, it's just easier syntax, guys. So then let's do nomon app tab, and it says Mongo connected. So Mongo's connected. Now if I make some type of mistake here and I do that, now we get that error, right? And we can say, so you know that that's the error, we can say testing error or something like that, or we could say could not connect, something like that. Let's see how that works. Let's see if you can see my could not connect. You see it right here, right? So you know that it's working. Okay, pretty cool stuff. And then we get that error, but let's go ahead and fix that. Let's port number is 27017, and now we should get Mongo connected. Perfect. So our database connection is working. We are, and remember guys, make sure your MongoDB is running by doing MongoD and then Mongo if you want to just log into the shell and play around with it. But let's start this on the next lecture, and let's start creating some of the views and try to see if we can get some data inside the database so we can start reading, updating, and deleting. Okay, thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next lecture.